Obligatory video entry greetings to you all. Not that this is an excuse at the beginning of a video again, it kind of is, but I realize a lot of my viewers are similar to me in the sense that we're kind of broken as far as like neurological things and other stuff. This video that I recorded, it kind of made my brain hurt. There's a lot of close-in camera angles. I know I've mentioned this before. It's probably just the traumatic brain injury thing, but I guess my main question is, after you watch this, I was screwing around with some different camera settings, color profiles, stuff like that, and there's a lot of fast-moving shots and a tiny bit of some of the fishbowl camera again, but honestly, let me know. Does any part of this video make your brain hurt? Because I think sometimes I'm being picky when it's not really an issue, and there's a lot of neurological visual things with different stuff and whatnot, but anyways, I've been battling insurance companies and wheelchair manufacturers and stuff for the last week.
Yeah, we can't really tell the other companies what to do, but we can find out what needs to be done.
And there just comes a point where I'm tired of battling people, and I don't know what to do about it. So today I just recorded a video, and that's my therapy. I talk about this more later, but I wound up pulling another chair out of mothballs and getting it set up to use because the quantum that you can't see over there, it's gonna be a while before that gets taken care of. Anyways, hopefully you enjoy. I know YouTube's a weird thing. I try to please everyone if I can. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just gonna hit the play button here and we'll start watching all this. By the way, I'm not 100% sure why I made this. This is a little random edit of me running around in the AmySystems chair, going from the yard and through the house and all this stuff. I guess I just wanted to use the GoPro Fusion camera in the way it was intended to be used for once. I was having all those issues with the software on the grocery store video, but I was bound and determined to make at least one clip with the thing that was working the way it was supposed to. But anyways, I guess I'm just sort of showcasing the chair and all the surfaces you can run around on. The footage is not sped up. I'm going full speed.
Keep my distance so you never know too much about me. Trying to keep you out cause I love my safe space. But the problem is I never looked into my own face. Am I ashamed of myself? Am I afraid of my emotions? Am I ashamed of myself? Am I afraid of my emotions? We let it go, we hold it inside. It's hard to take the blame. I know it doesn't feel right. We let it go, we hold it inside. You're more than just your past, you're more than what you realize. We let it go, we hold it inside. It's hard to take the blame. I know it doesn't feel right. We let it go, we hold it inside. You're more than just your past, you're more than what you realize. Way too long I've been building walls around me. Keep my distance so you never know too much about me. Trying to keep you out cause I love my safe space. But the problem is I never looked into.
Okay, so this particular camera has the ability to have custom firmware and software loaded onto it. It allows for some onboard color processing, but apparently at the expense of light. Anyways, we're gonna try it today and see how it works. I need to go recycle a bunch of batteries, but first I need to load test them. So I've devised a way of doing that. I've got a pile of batteries here. There's some more under there, more over there. And what I've decided to do to load test these things, these have all been charged, but I don't know how good they are. The static voltage is not an accurate representation of how good the batteries are. So what I've got here is a 750 watt power inverter and a little space heater. This thing, I believe, is about 300 watts, 200 watts. So we're gonna plug this into the batteries and monitor the voltage of them and basically see what happens when we put a load on them, and that'll tell me if they're good or not. Right now, I think batteries are going for about $11 each for recycling, and I've got a whole bunch of them, so I might as well clear them out. The garage sort of refilled itself with the storage unit the other day. I was able to immediately fill the garbage can though, so that was good, but let me grab my voltmeter and some clip leads and let's get this set up. Okay, so to start here, let's double check the voltage. I charged these things a few weeks ago, so they should have had enough time to equalize. So you got 12.5, 12.5. So in theory, on the surface, everything looks good. But I don't think these things really have capacity. Attach our voltmeter up as well using these clip leads. Being careful not to short this out because this is a 75 amp hour battery that has quite a bit of oomph behind it. So we will connect this here. And then positive. Now you can see we've got our 12.5 volts there. Now we're going to turn this on, which is a 200 watt load, and we'll see what our voltage does. 12.1. We'll keep an eye on this and see how fast it drops. Well, the fans on that power inverter sound horrific. I'll let this run for probably about 2 minutes or so. Okay, so that's been about a minute. I'm going to cut off the heater, see what our voltage goes back up to. Huh, 12.1. Weird. So these batteries were not working very good in the power chair they were in. Okay, we're going to try this carpet blower over here. This thing has a pretty big motor in it. So we're going to plug this thing in. I don't even know if this power inverter can get it started, but we'll see. Whew, that was a bit of a load. And it won't start. Let's try turning our speed down on the motor. Let's go ahead and try that again. Power cycle this thing. And contact. Yeah, it doesn't like that. Okay, let's move this back to the original battery here and test it on these other ones that appear to be in a little bit better shape. Let's try it again. Power on. So yeah, once we start pulling more amperage from these batteries, they are pretty much bad. Okay, well, there's your answer. When you try to put a heavier load on these things, they don't respond very well. So, I guess to the recycler they go. I think I would rather have like $100 for this pile of batteries than some semi-questionable ones. Plus they're taking up a lot of space. Just for contrast, we're going to try this one more time with a battery I know is very good. This one. Yeah, now see, the inverter can power it just fine, and our voltage is holding good and steady. This isn't even a deep cycle battery. We're pulling a healthy load, that fan's in the garage running, and we've still got, you know, decent voltage here. So, yeah. All those batteries in there are going to go away. I went and got all the bat rays recycled, but I'm working on the project. So I've got two AmySystems chairs here. That's my old one the insurance company bought me like 6 or 7 years ago. And this is a slightly newer one that I got. What I want to do is take the 3G seating off of this chair and put it onto that purple one right there. That's going to take a little bit of fabrication, and I'll probably have to have a friend help me out with that, because, well, one of the components I have to build is going to take a lot of work, and it's more than my arms will appreciate. So at the moment, since that chair is no longer needed on the other side of the country, we're going to use some of the parts off of this to hopefully get this one comfortable for me to sit in. Because my Quantum, it's going to be a while before that gets taken care of. After getting rid of all the batteries, I came across these Odysseys here, which are basically Group 34. But the problem is they have this little edge that sticks out right here, and it makes it not fit in there. I was able to fit it in this chair and run it around, but the power base is super wide on that one, and this one was custom built to be really narrow. So we put some NF22s in there out of the old ruined pink soccer chair, and now I'm about to use bits of lumber to space everything out. Because right now, as you can see, there's a gap here, there's a gap there, and a gap on both sides. So I'm going to try and get this put together and at least get that thing powered up so I can use it in the house. The tie downs on it are super easy to use. You can see right here, we've got these nice big hooks on the back. And in the meanwhile, I have to tie myself down in the van with retractable straps. That would be a lot easier to use. So anyways, I'm gonna keep working on this. I'll show you when I'm done. You're supposed to use lumber on power chairs, right? Here's what we came up with We got spacing left, right, middle. Front is going to be butted up against the front of the chair. And in the back here, we've got another spacer. And everything's held in place with the original equipment straps. The caps are attached to the batteries. This chair has to use these caps. They have integrated wiring and also circuit protection right here. And there's an Anderson connector here. And these little latches hold the two halves together. Then our main power outlet's right here, which connects up to this thing. So yeah, there we go. Kind of an interesting arrangement, but I think it should work. And these batteries are pretty much new. Granted, they are kind of small in F22s, but I'm not going any distances in this thing. I just need to be able to use it in the house, running around the grocery store, stuff like that. So let's go ahead and try to get this back in here. Let's see here. There we go. And there we are. Almost. There we go. It's closed. Now the trick is, will the chair power on? It's alive. Ooh, that's right. This one has brake lights. I forgot about that. Every time you slow down or stop, the brake lights come on. Okay. We're ready to start doing retrofitting on the seating now. You'll have to pardon the sloshing sounds of the washing machine in there. But I figured today there's something I had on my list of videos to make for a while, and that was basically a post review. Okay, I've got to turn off this washing machine. It's driving me insane. It'll start beeping, but at least it won't be making sloshing noises. I got this AmySystems chair like 6 years ago. Actually, I can find the exact date that I got it. I have a lot of photos in my phone, but they're all sorted by location and date. Okay, we're gonna have to bring out the big guns on this one. So some of the searching on the iPhone for certain locations and things you can't do from the phone, but my whole 67,000 photo library, Echo, turn on the office, is on this Mac in here. And if we, Echo, turn on the office. By the way, see that green glow on my face? That's from the ICS switches on this stupid chair. I'm going to be selling a solution to that soon. What? Echo, turn on the office. Normally that works flawlessly. I don't know what the problem there was. But no, I got most of my machines set up in here and going. We've got the sign machine, the big format printer, all the assorted computers required to run this equipment. And we're going to be selling basically little stickers that are sunglasses you can stick over this. So you won't be blind at night when you're trying to see past your joystick, but you can't because it's stupid bright. I'm going to find the date on this computer real quick. I'll be right back. Never mind, I found it. I used the AI search function on the iPhone and typed in wheelchair. So I got this chair, July 28th, 2014. Wait, is that right? Wow, 2014. Echo, how many years ago is July of 2014?
July 2014 ended 6 years ago.
6 years ago, so it's gonna be 7 this summer. Okay, so the 6.5 year review of the AmySystems Alltrac M, as pictured right here. I can't even hold that camera still. Well, this chair has gone through a number of mods throughout its lifetime. One of the earliest ones was installing Permobil leg rests, because the stock AmySystems ones are terrible. That actually retrofitted on there pretty easily without too much of an issue, and it integrated into the electronics, sort of. Let's see how many miles are on this thing. Now, whatever shows up here, you have to add 100 miles to it. Come on. Because they replaced the controller at 100 miles. Okay, so we've got 1,952 miles on this chair. I mean, if I had been using the thing full time ever since then, it would obviously have a lot more miles on it, but that's still quite a bit. I haven't even cleaned the thing. It still looks fairly new. You can see AmySystems has this crazy suspension. This particular configuration, they only ever built 7 of them. This one has the batteries in here lengthwise instead of widthwise, and that allows the base of the chair to be much more narrow than it would have been otherwise. There you can kind of see, I mean, there's no frame of reference, but the way that thing's set up, the armrests are actually 1 inch narrower than the C300, that I'm sitting in right now. But over the years, I added a bunch of stuff. We put a factory light kit on here. They look brighter on camera than they actually are. But then I also added my own lights right here. These are much brighter than the factory ones. Got a switch panel back here. There we go, there's the headlights. So those are the ones I added, and then if you combine them with the factory ones, you get a decent amount of light out of it. But with the factory light kit, you get taillights in the back as well. And this chair also has brake lights, which is sort of interesting. If you hit the joystick whenever you stop, that comes on for a couple of seconds. I don't know how useful that is, but sort of an interesting thing. Then, of course, I had to add strobe lights so I wouldn't get hit by people as much as I'm running around. So I've got the solid burning headlights, solid yellow lights here, and then flashing ones on the side. Both sides, actually, and the back. Then there's a bunch of other accessories in here, too. I had a light for a while that was just on the ground under the footplates, so I could see past the screen at night. And then there's another one here that is a USB power output inside this thing, so I can charge my phone and all that. But I've got all the electronics housed down in here. You can see the USB power supply right there. I think it's this button. Yeah. And I took that apart and completely conformally coated it, so if it gets wet or whatever, it doesn't cause any issues. But the suspension on this thing is really nuts. Like, it is really, really good. The only thing that's ever rivaled it is the Quantum 4 front, which is over there pouting in the corner because reasons. I don't know when that's gonna get solved. It's not gonna be anytime soon, actually. I mean, I'll keep you guys updated when I get more news, but the reason I revived this thing last night was so I can daily drive it and I can get into the van. This thing is WC19 compliant, or the equivalent ISO standard from back in the day, and the transport brackets are right here where I can easily reach them when I'm sitting in the chair. Same with the front ones. They're right here, and they are built into the frame. Until I get the Quantum sorted out, or whatever chair I end up getting, because at this point I don't even know if I'm going to end up with another Quantum, I can't install the Easy Lock in the van because I don't want to drill all the extra holes in the floor and then have to move it later. So this is my answer to that. We're going to use this thing as a daily driver because I can drive it in the van, I can drive it in the house, and we're good to go. But, you know, 6 years later, it's been a great chair. It still works good. There's a few interesting design things they did with these that are not typical of most power chairs. For example, inside the caster arm housings here, they don't use bearings. Well, there's one bearing on the bottom. There's still sand on here from when I went to the beach with that David's chair, track chair thing. But they use bushings up in here, and it allows for everything to spin a lot more freely, and I don't know, reasons, but I've only ever had to rebuild these once over the years, and they've worked pretty good. These are not the original wheels that it came with. The old ones were much more awesome, but I ended up with these at some point because the old split rims, you can only take them apart so many times. I was going through tires on this every 90 days at its peak when I was using it. I'm not sure what else to say about it. It's probably one of the best chairs I've ever had, and it's been reliable. It's never left me stranded. Yeah, some of the footage from the opening sequence of this video, you can kind of see the suspension working. I actually might go outside with the GoPro again and try to film a little bit more of that so you can see how it works, but the suspension is amazing on this thing. We're losing daylight outside, but I think we're still okay. And that's the other thing with this chair is the way the motors are set up, they have enough torque and power, and I can tune this thing exactly how I want it and make it respond predictably every time. So you can really go nuts when you're running around with it and not worry about hitting stuff. Well, assuming you're used to the way it's programmed. This thing still won't ever replace like a good front wheel drive chair. Is it zoomed out? There we go. But it's pretty dang close. So this is the C300 that I've been using here in the house for quite some time. Actually, let me line up right next to this and see what our overall length is like. That was one of the other reasons that I got rid of the factory leg rests on this chair, was they stuck out like an extra 3 or 4 inches. So I'm going to line up the foot plates on the C300 here with this one. There we go. Yeah, look at that. You can see there on the back, we've got a good 3 or 4 inches. Well, maybe you can't see from this angle. There's a couple other things they nailed on this chair as well, and that's the geometry of the suspension. This thing under no circumstance, will the rear wheels come off the ground, even going down a hill while stopping really hard. And also, the geometry of the way the casters work, you can stop on a rug that is loose on top of the floor and spin around, and the rug won't bunch up underneath it. So there's a lot of engineering that really went into this thing. But here, let me show you on the ramp here. I'm headed down this thing, and then I stop halfway. I even try to like back up, the tires just slide. It won't tip forward. See, the wheels were going backwards. Now even if I try to lean forward, the thing is planted firmly on the ground. The only problem, which isn't really a problem, but with the narrow wheelbase on this, it'll do wheelies on you quite a bit. But if I come around this corner hard, this front left tire will pick up. Which isn't necessarily a big deal, because the chair still has really good traction, even when it's wheeling like that. And it's still very controllable. Also, sticking with the subject of hills, when you're going up a hill and you want to stop, the thing doesn't roll back at all. It's almost like it has hill hold. We're gonna go up the ramp here, and then I'll show you. As soon as I let go of the joystick, look at the drive wheels. They don't roll back at all. It just stays in that position and then stops. There's just so many things with this chair that were well thought out and well engineered. And a lot of companies do not do things like that anymore, unfortunately. But anyways, I kind of feel like Burger Man talking about something that's awesome that you can't have. No offense if you're watching, but I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. And now it's dark. I will get this camera figured out eventually. Doing all the color grading is more work than I want to do. It adds like an hour and a half of editing time to every video. Now this right here is kind of cool, where you can see me, but everything else in the background is dark. I don't know, whatever. This thing now is going to be my daily user until the forefront gets off its timeout or whatever's happening. I guess regardless, I can't keep that chair. So even though I'm not allowed to keep it, I'm still like kind of not using it because I don't want to like break it or something or somehow get charged for damage to it. I mean, I don't even know. It's only got 11 miles on it right now. Yeah, there's a convenient stack of boxes right here. Wait, can I adjust this exposure? Hey, there we go. Anyways, I just wanted to mention that AmySystems Alltrac M from back in 2014. Fabulous chair. And it still holds up by today's standards.